So recently I fixed my hard drive, so I have my interview with Brian, and he goes into his experience with his PGY1, PGY2, and I think he provides a really good perspective whether you should do residency or not. The audio is a little messed up, but I still think you're gonna get some lot of good value out of this interview. And we have a bunch more, and I'm really happy to release this, guys. It's been a really long time. I've been really wanting to get good residency videos for you guys, and honestly, Brian is the man because he's down to earth just like me, and I think you guys will enjoy this. Peace. What up, guys? Today I actually have a special guest, my friend Brian. We did a video earlier about his matching experience, but today Brian came up with a really good point, and we wanted to talk about why residency. Why should somebody pursue residency? And let me ask you, what was your reason for doing residency? Because people like me, I never wanted to do it,
So that's a very good question. I think all the students always ask about in pharmacy school. So I guess for the first part is I actually went to the University of Florida in Gainesville, and our school was like always promoting like the clinical part of pharmacy, and I felt that was kind of a little biased. Like, there's a lot of people that don't go into pharmacy just for residency. Like, they just want to go in and they like that retail life, that community life. But our school really biased us into, hey, you got to do the clinical side. You have to do a residency. Residency is required. Everyone's going to do a residency when they get out. So I was in that mindset. But I was kind of skeptical. I was like, I only signed up for 4 years. I don't want to do a couple extra years.
Did just a quick question, did other people in your class, did most of them end up doing residency as well?
No, actually they did not. It was, a lot of them felt very pressured. They're like, I felt kind of bad for them because they would feel almost like they were looked down upon if they didn't. And I thought that was really wrong. But the percentage was probably 60% did not in my class, and the other 40% did. But yeah, because I signed up for pharmacy school thinking that I was just going to do 4 years, come out, make 6 figures, live that good life.
Yeah, that's right.
But I actually ran into this guy, and I always bring his name up. His name's Ryan, and he was like always pro pharmacy, and he was just basically like, Brian, residency is the future of pharmacy. You got to do a residency, and he kind of pushed me in that route. And so I was very like gung ho about residency. So I kind of, starting my second year, I kind of scheduled everything geared towards prepping for residency. And then, so this is an interesting spin. During rotations, I was like, I'm this clinical expert, I'm ready, I'm gonna be this awesome pharmacist. And then I got like completely shot down on rotations because I was like, the doctors were being, they were just like, doctors make all the decisions, and the pharmacists that were the role models supposedly for me didn't really speak up. So they were like these timid individuals that didn't make recommendations, or they were just like, yeah, that drug is contraindicated, you probably shouldn't use it. And the doctor's like, well, you didn't sound that confident. It's like, I'm going to use it anyways. So like I didn't really have good role models to look up to. So I actually wanted to go to med school during rotations, and I like took the MCAT and everything.
Oh, what?
And I was like ready to go to med school. So it was completely changing things. So then I started to hate pharmacy.
Yeah.
But I realized that I can't see blood because I spent the next 2 or 3 months shadowing my friends in surgery. Okay. And every single time I passed out. So I was like, nope, this is not for me. So I stuck it out. I stuck it out with residency, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do, a better job than the other pharmacists because, you got to be more confident. You got to speak up. You got to, just have some more conviction when you speak to physicians, when you're making these recommendations. So
yeah, because like if you're all timid and stuff, it's an indication that like you don't know what you're talking about when you really do. And,
yeah.
I totally felt that when I was on my rotations as well. Like a lot of the pharmacists, they'd be really timid and stuff like that. But Yeah, I was always the loud guy, like
Yeah.
making the yeah.
So because of those experiences, I guess residency is a little overvalued in a sense, in the training that you get. Obviously, it depends. Not all residencies are created equal. So some of them give you really excellent training, and you become this awesome pharmacist. But I think that it's so the mentality right now is that everyone needs to do a residency, so all these places opens residency, and then the quality of residencies is so low that I personally don't think that residencies might be for everyone.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I would encourage individuals who want to go into hospital pharmacy to do a residency, because I think it's a business decision. As in, it's 1 year of your life, 1 year, a sacrifice. You have a residency under your name, and if you're hiring someone, they just basically say this person has a residency and this person doesn't. So from a business point of view, and 1 year sacrifice for the next, 20, 30, 40 years of your career, I think a residency makes the hugest difference if you want to do hospital pharmacy. So I guess ultimately it would be case-by-case scenario. My recommendation basically would be, if you're looking or even interested in hospital pharmacy, you should take a look at residency. Otherwise, you definitely don't need a residency at all.
As someone who completed the PGY2, what sort of value did you get out of your residency?
I got a lot. So it was my two residencies were very, very different. My first residency I did was at a community hospital. So not that traditional academic medical center. The second year residency was at an academic medical center. Oh, and so I had the experiences and things I've gained in both were very different. With the first one being real life, well, everything's real life, but more like practical pharmacy things. So I learned, the issues of not having people teach all the time, not having rounds. So we never rounded. There was no rounds. It was crazy. So we learned a lot of operational pharmacy. So, IV room prep, order verification, just basically getting the meds from the pharmacy to the different floors, to the nurses, and to the patients.
So workflow and operations, basically.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So a lot of workflow and operations. I didn't do as much as the things that I thought I was gonna do, very clinical in nature. Not to say I didn't, because I did. They teach you how to dose, different medications, Vanco, aminoglycosides, things like that, or monitoring warfarin.
Yeah.
But the emphasis definitely was more so on the operational workflow, like you just said. For my second year, which was at an academic medical center, I learned a lot of, the traditional teachings of how to write good research papers, this academic center, a lot of traditional rounds, prepping for presentations, very, very formal didactic type stuff. And I loved it. I actually talked to my residency director for my first year, and she asked me some of my experiences, and I was like, I don't think I would do another, if I were to choose, I wouldn't do a residency at a community hospital again, because I know that's not for me. I love that teaching environment. But even hindsight's 2020, because I think doing a residency at a community hospital was also pretty awesome. So now I have the two different perspectives.
Do you think your residency played into the job that you do now in informatics?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably gonna lead to a couple more videos, probably.
Yeah, probably, right?
Yeah, so I think it did. And actually all the experiences in my first and second year, every single one of them played into my role now. That was one of the questions my residency directors asked me. It's it was pretty cool. She was like, did any rotation or any experiences factor into the job you do now? And I was like, yeah, actually all of them do. So the job that I do now is essentially I'm, an informatics pharmacist. Because I'm at such a large institution, I actually work for Mayo Clinic. they specialize all of us into different areas. So I'm specifically in charge of coordinating the antimicrobial stewardship program, the infection control program, and then all the associated clinical decision support programs across the Mayo Clinic enterprise. So that's like probably 60 to 70 hospitals across 4 states.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's a big thing. But because of that, to do the job, we have to know a lot about operations, a lot of workflow. So I learned a lot of that in my first year, a lot of leadership. So we do a lot of meeting facilitation, which is kind of interesting because you think of I think people who think about informatics pharmacists think of it's that timid, shy guy, the nerd, like just typing away and all. Yeah, no, exactly, right? Yeah. But that's completely opposite because what we do is we lead these high-level meetings with different directors and managers and supervisors, and we have to get them to agree on things or get them to understand the workflows that we're trying to create. So I think that I learned a lot in general for my first year because they did a lot of leadership training, how to facilitate meetings and things like that. Same with my second year. So my second year residency was actually in informatics. It was an Epic institution, and I'm currently implementing Epic. So it definitely helps a lot. So yeah, I think both of my residency years were very, very beneficial to the job I'm doing now.
So great. I think that's all for today. But guys, if you want to follow Brian, I'll put his YouTube right here. Guys, if you have any questions, you can either send them to me or send them to him. And hopefully we'll see you again, man.
All right. See you guys. And don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe to me and Brian. All right.
Yeah.
Later, guys.
See ya.
Once you finish, you can pay off your loans in 2-3 years, no problem. You can save a bunch of money, buy my nice clothes, nice shoes, nice purses. Well, when you get out and you actually do get a job, yes, you're very excited, but